And so we're going to get cranking. Today's topic is van life can help you live healthier. And so I know for many people, van life is a kind of a chance at a fresh start. And you really get to kind of reevaluate what's important to you and reevaluate, how you want to live your life moving on, right? Van life's kind of this big set point where you can kind of just start everything from scratch and really create the life you want to have. And so I know for a lot of people, they're looking to improve the quality of their life. And so that might be spending more time in nature, maybe getting away from a lot of bills, maybe finding a job that's more van life friendly, that type of stuff. And so, for me, it was kind of all those things. It was having better relationships, better friendships, eating healthier, and then also just exercising more and finding the motivation to do those things. And so that's what we're going to talk about today. But first, we're just going to do a little catch up and fill you guys in with what's been going on since last week. Last week was not a traditional live. Last week was I had kind of a special presentation called Discovering Your Dream Home on Wheels. And I know Diana was there for that part. I appreciate Diana. She's like number one fan of Van Life
Right.
RX. She shows up to all the events, and I appreciate the patronage. And then also Nicole Dominguez. She also watches all the live streams and the content. So I appreciate you guys supporting and kicking things off and being here with us. So I do
Absolutely.
appreciate it. And so we're going to go ahead and just do some updates. The first thing, Tiny Fest San Diego, it's going down. It's only a weekend away. It feels like not long ago, it was like a month out. It was this
Right.
way on the horizon type of situation. Now it's like it's coming up quick. And so the great news is both me and Justin are going to be at Tiny Fest San Diego. I contacted the organizer and mentioned that I have this friend that lives in a car that has a clothing dryer and an induction cooktop and all this crazy stuff. And her mind was blown. And she's like, we got to have him down there. So Justin's going to be rolling through. And, for just to rip the Band-Aid right off, we're just going to go ahead and address Justin. He was so excited for the live stream today and so excited for Tiny Fest San Diego that he wanted to go for a new look. And so he has the full beard, which I really appreciate. I think the beard definitely adds some strength and some toughness and
Yeah,
a
I like
little
the
bit
beard
of
a lot.
wisdom to the individual. But he also, he did something that's a little risky. But for Justin, I think it turned out pretty much perfect. He went ahead and shaved his eyebrows this morning, and I think he looks fantastic. What do you think, Justin?
Yeah, you should see the razor. It definitely got the worst end of that fight. But no, it was funny. I went over to my mom's and surprised her, and it kind of like it didn't surprise her at first, and then she's like, "Oh no, it actually doesn't look that bad." And I'm like, "What do you mean it doesn't look that bad? Are you lying to me?" And she's like, "No, it doesn't look that bad. It could be
I think
worse." So I was like,
It's
"All
it
right,
could be way worse. You could have
yeah."
accidentally done this like a huge, bald spot in your head or something. So,
Yeah, the one thing I learned is that like if you fuck up your hair, you can just wear a wig, but if you shave off your eyebrows, you're fucked. So
they need to have eyebrow wigs, for this type of situation. Maybe that's our next hot product, maybe we develop eyebrow wigs and we could use some donated hair. I don't know, something like that. But I like the idea and I like the hustle. So Justin's going to be live with us at Tiny Fest San Diego. It looks like he might have encountered some technical difficulties, so we'll go ahead and see if we can bring him back. If you guys are interested in checking it out, tinyfest.events, you can see um, info, tickets, and you can get all the info about the event. It's only like $10 to get in. It's not expensive, but it's going to be fun. And there's actually, I put this little picture up right here. And so there's actually like over 20 of us vehicle dwellers that are going to be present at Tiny Fest San Diego, showing off our rigs, giving full tours. You can ask questions. It's an event where people that are tiny dwellers, we're coming there with the purpose of helping and educating. So you don't have to feel like you're imposing on anybody, and everyone's just really nice and they're to help out. So if you get a chance to come down to Tiny Fest San Diego, we'd love to see you. and it's going to be a great time. I definitely recommend if you're in the San Diego area, come on through and check it out. One more update for me personally. I mentioned, I think last week in the live, I mentioned I picked up a few things from local thrift stores and decided to sell them on eBay. And so I had my first sale like 2 days after listing my products. And I bought a leather wallet. It was a Toomey brand wallet. I bought it for $3.50 at the local Goodwill. And within 2 days, I sold it on eBay for $45, which was pretty effortless and a pretty good chunk of change. So I was really excited about that. And then just yesterday, I also sold a pair of pants that I picked up. So, you know, as far as making money on the road, I just got started. It's a brand new thing, but I think there's some potential there. If you have a good eye and you know what sells and what's, you know, good to watch out for, I think it's definitely a good idea. You can potentially make some money by just flipping things from Goodwill or a local thrift store or Facebook Marketplace and then reselling them online. So I just wanted to mention that, let you guys know I had a little success with my reselling online. And so that's it. That's all for my updates. I'm going to keep it short. We're gonna pop over to Justin now and see what he has to say. Let me switch the slides here. I lost my my abilities.
That's pretty. It's a nice skill to have. Just learning how to use eBay or Amazon just to resell product. There's a lot of money to be made in the reselling business, and anybody can do it. And it's pretty easy to, once you start getting the hang of it, just keep doing it, and you can just go to like any donation center. So it's a good skill to have. Highly recommend learning how to use eBay properly and Amazon.
Let's see. It looks like, hold on a second, my Keynote, my slideshow application just took a dive on me. Let me see if I can bring it back.
Diana was asking about tips on how to sell online, and
okay. Yeah, go ahead.
It's a pretty, what's nice is that like there's a massive market of people that are buying and not a lot of people are supplying. So there's a lot more buyers than suppliers. And so it's a good time to sell anything, especially if it looks old and vintage. So Brad was having success with like clothes and wallets and all the above. I pretty much primarily just stick to books, mostly because they're a bit more streamlined. But yeah, I mean, you can do anything in the store you can potentially resell. If it looks like it's in good condition, if it looks like it has a. Brad was telling me that like the coat that he bought had a, or not the coat, the hat that he bought had like a special brand, and he was looking up the brand, and it looked like an expensive brand. And if it, that's where you go to start, right? You just do a Google search for the brand and look for prices. It's a little tedious, but you can walk out of the store making a lot more money than you came in with, and anybody can do it. So that's my recommendation is just kind of starting with a couple items that you know for sure will sell, and then just trying them out, see what happens. Also, like the donation center where I live at, if you donate anything, they'll give you like a 20% off your entire purchase the next time you show up. So, and there's also discount days. I think it's like Mondays or Wednesdays or something like that. Well, they'll give you an extra like 10 or 20% off. So it's pretty sweet.
Yeah, that's great advice. And Nicole mentions in the comments, discontinued items do well. And I think that's the key too, is it's really about supply and demand. So if you can find discontinued or vintage items, in theory, the supply on those is low. And so it's easier to find higher markups on those items. I know Nicole follows this lady on Instagram that finds all kinds of weird stuff like discontinued chapsticks. She'll go to she'll go to small towns and like old convenience stores, and she'll find like these discontinued chapsticks that literally sell for like $20 a piece online, and she'll get them for like $2 or $3. And so there's a lot of weird niche items like that. So really it just comes down to doing your research and figuring out, what's in demand, and then being able to supply those items.
There's actually a secret that not a lot of people know in terms of like buying and reselling. And like you can become a supplier from for like Amazon, either through like buying imports from China or even just going to like your dollar store and picking up dollar items and then selling them for like $9 or $10. And I mean, you you basically have infinite supply, and so you can just constantly make revenue. The trick is finding the right items, right? So you basically, it's a very tedious process, but if you take the time and go through every single product, there's a chance that like you'll find an item that you can buy from the dollar store for $1 and then turn around and resell it for $9 or $10, and then you get like $5 out of that. But it sells like instantly, and you can just like buy their whole supply that they have at that dollar store. So that's also something to look into as a more stable way to make money, but it's just a little bit more tedious.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. I see in the chat, someone's on the YouTube chat, someone's asking for the passcode for this meeting. I still have some stuff to work out, man. Zoom is like none of this technology is as easy as you would like it to be.
Right. I remember I was having that issue last week too, remember?
Yeah, I mean, I thought the link I sent out, it should just get you right in, but I have no idea. So I'm just gonna pop the passcode in. It's 907600 is the passcode. If someone needs it, sorry guys, if you can't get in because there's no passcode. I don't know I gotta figure that out. Okay, moving forward though, the show must go on. Justin, tell us your update. Tell us about Justin's quest for water independence.
Yeah, so that's been a long process. I've tried a lot of things under the sun. I've gathered rainwater and distilled it. I've gathered stream water and distilled it. I have even recycled urine and distilled it and tried it. I've tried everything under the sun. And so far, I've had a lot of success with my dehumidifier. Now, I didn't realize this, but my mom's boyfriend, he was telling me that in Seattle, it's actually one of the more humid places in the United States. So I looked it up, and sure enough, so I bought this really nice dehumidifier, and I'm pulling like a gallon of water out of the air per day. It's very humid here. It's been raining. So, hey, Walter's here.
Hey, welcome back, Walter.
With this dehumidifier, it's been really awesome because I'm able to pull water out of the air. It's clean. It's already purified. I can drink it straight from the tap. So that's been a big blessing, pulling a gallon of water out of the air pretty much every day. Now it's been raining here, so I imagine when it's not raining, it's not going to be as much. But it's a nice little supplement in terms of like not having to find water from a state park or anything like that. And that kind of brings me to the next thing I got. I bought an RV pump off Amazon, and it's awesome. It's super quiet. It's super powerful. It's my first time ever soldering wires together. I've used like electrical tape, and I've just like wrapped the coils around before, but it's my first time like melting the wires together with I forget what it's called. It's like lead. And so you take a little solder and you use an iron, and then you melt the lead onto the wires and melt them together. And that's been my first time doing that. So that was really exciting. And the water pump works great. I've got it right here, as a matter of fact. And so this is just a little shower head, and then little switch here. I'm not gonna use it, but it works. But it works, and I use that for showering. And as a matter of fact, there's my foldable bathtub that's right up there, and so I can take a bath shower combo in my car. And I'm sure that looks really weird from the outside, but it's much better than spending $30 a month on a gym membership, in my opinion. It's just, everything that costs money is like less freedom for me. So I try to eliminate as many costs in my life as I can. So now I've got like free water, free electricity, free baths. It's all coming together. And so
all
that's
been freebies, man. I like it. Justin's the king of finding out the freebies. I like it.
So that's pretty much been my life experience this last couple of weeks. I guess it has been a couple of weeks since I've been on. So
very nice. Yeah, I would definitely say soldering is a good skill to have for anyone that's going to be doing van life. It's a great way to be able to make your own repairs while on the road. It doesn't require much space, and you know, you can just pack the gear away. But then if anything ends up to need to be repaired, it's easy to solder it. It's easier to solder than to do like crimp connections, as far as you can't really mess it up. It's a pretty good connection. So I like it. I like it. That's the tip of the day, is get a soldering kit, put it in your tool bag. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on. Justin has given us an update. He now has a bathtub in his car, along with a clothing dryer and an induction cooktop and all the other goodies. Let me ask you, Justin, are you going to be taking baths at Tiny Fest San Diego?
No, but I've read that there's showers there for um, not employees, but people that are showing off their rigs at night. They're allowing people to use the showers there, so I'll probably use those, to be honest.
Yeah, they absolutely have showers. I think it would be kind of a pretty big draw, you know, if we could see if you were just sitting outside your car and sitting in the bathtub, you know, with like one of those little backwashers, you know, that'd be kind of interesting, man.
Yeah, I was thinking that'd be a really funny clip to make. So, no promises.
Okay, no promises. So maybe if you come to Tiny Fest San Diego, you can catch Justin in the bathtub. So let's move on, though, to the meat of today's topic. We're going to be talking about how van life can help you live healthier. Specifically, we're talking about eating, exercising, and then mental health. And this is an open discussion. So anyone that wants to add or contribute to the conversation, you're welcome to. There's an option within Zoom. You can raise your hand, and then it just kind of puts your hand up, and we can see that you have something you want to add. Or you can type something in the chat box, or whatever you want to do. Let us know. But we're happy to hear from everybody. This isn't just about us talking to you guys. We definitely want to get a discussion going. So that's what we're working on today. The first part of that is eating good, right? So in our previous live 2 weeks ago that Justin was a part of, we talked about creating more freedom, right? And how living the van life allows you to have more freedom than a CEO on the budget of an assistant manager. And so one of the freedoms you have is you have the freedom of more time. You have the freedom of being able to do the things you want to do. And so now that you have that free time, what you can do is you can use that free time to cook your own food. And so I feel like cooking your own food, it helps in a multiple of ways. Not only does it help you save money, but it also allows you to control the ingredients that are going into your food. And so, you know, I'm pretty conscious about what I eat. And when I go shopping, you look at the labels on food, you know, everything has sugar in it, corn syrup in it, soy products in it. And just depending on what your lifestyle is, I'm not here to tell anybody you can't have corn syrup. I mean, corn syrup is delicious, right? It's absolutely sweet. And so if you want to eat corn syrup, by all means, enjoy some corn syrup. But whatever it is that you do not want to put into your body, you have full control by controlling the ingredients. And the other thing I found is when you're making your own food and you're aware of how much of an ingredient is going into the food, like if you're baking cupcakes, for example, and the recipe calls for sugar, it's one thing to just buy a cupcake at the store and eat it. But when you make the cupcake and you're putting in like 2 cups of sugar and you're physically watching that, and then you're thinking like, I'm going to eat all this and process it through my body, it kind of changes your relationship with food. And it kind of changes the way, you know, some of the choices that you might make. So I feel like cooking your food is a great way to be able to make healthy choices and you know, really control the ingredients that you put into your food. Anything to add to that, Justin?
Yeah, I would say that another big perk is that we are mobile constantly. So we also have the opportunity to go to these, you know, we don't have to, we're not stuck to our local environment as much, and we can travel to the outskirts and travel to these farmers and ask them if they would be willing to sell. So we just have a bigger mobile lifestyles. It gives us bigger, broader resources for getting our food together. And I really love that picture with the sauerkraut because, you know, I've thought about like brewing my own kombucha and making my own beer. And these are kind of like things that don't take a lot of overhead time, but then don't take up a whole lot of space. And so it's just about getting the right materials together to do it. and then just letting nature take its course. And I think that that's a very powerful skill to have. And like you're saying, when you know what's going into it, you feel a lot more comfortable putting it into your body and sharing it with your friends. And um, yeah, that's pretty much all I want to add to that. But
Yeah, I agree with that. I think the great thing about traveling is that if you're, like most nomads, you're kind of following the good weather. And so, you're able to kind of follow the crops as well because the crops are growing where the weather's good. So you can hit local farmers markets, you can go to local farms that are in season and they're selling fresh produce, or they have fresh meat products that are available. I think one of my favorite places that I've traveled and lived in was Austin, Texas. The farmers markets they have there are incredible. I mean, the amount of local like cheeses and meats and vegetables and fruits, and you can get almost anything you want at a farmer's market, and it's all local and sustainable, and it's you're getting the food right from the source, and it's also a great way to cut out the middleman. So your food isn't going and sitting in some warehouse and then going and sitting on a shelf in a store and then you bring it home. In many cases, these farmers, they're picking the food right before they come out to the market. So you're getting, the longer that your food is removed from its life source, the less life source that food is going to contain. So when you're eating, and there's studies on that, right? If you eat salad that was just picked like an hour or let's say a day ago, it has way more nutrients than something that's been triple washed, put in a plastic bag, and it's been sitting for a week. So I think it's great to shop local and keep that in rotation. And when you're living this lifestyle too, food storage is limited. So you can't fill a fridge and then just eat off of it for 2 weeks. You're kind of going to the store every few days, recirculating your supply. And so you have the option to always have fresh ingredients.
Reminds me of that photo from McDonald's where it's like a cheeseburger that's been aged for 17 years and it looks like you could just eat it yesterday. And it's like, I don't think that's I don't think that that's organic or probably good for you in any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah, I have this image burned into my mind. When I was little, one of my chores was always to like clean out the family cars. And so I remember, when I was little, there was no internet. We didn't know about like food health or safety or any of this stuff. And so like we ate McDonald's and all kinds of fast food growing up. And I remember when I would vacuum out the cars, I would always find French fries down in the bottom of the seats, down under the seats and between the console, there'd be little French fry pieces. And they always looked exactly the same way they look coming out of the bag at McDonald's, no mold, no degradation at all. I mean, it's stale, like you don't want to eat it, but
there's keepers, Brad. I'd eat it.
But it's not degrading. And the other thing is like the bugs don't even want it, like there's no bugs eating it. They're like, this isn't even food. We don't know what this is. So just another point, if you can stick to the fresh stuff, I think that'll take you a lot further.
It also reminds me when I was in Austin, Texas, we had a friend down there. His name was Joe, and he told me I should look into something called guerrilla gardening.
Yep.
And essentially what that is you go onto land out in the middle of nowhere and you just start your own garden. And, there's nothing illegal about it. But I thought that was a very interesting idea. I've got a very rebellious nature in my being. So guerrilla gardening, look into it. It's very enlightening.
I like the idea, man. Guerrilla gardening. So going in line, with going to farmers markets, having fresh ingredients, making your own food. The other great thing is that I like to do is meal prep. And I know Justin's on board with that as well. So because you're traveling and moving around, it's nice to be able to have kind of one day or a few hours in a day where you go through and you make food and you make big batches of food. And then you save it and you eat off those leftovers for a few days. So like for me, I'll cook a big batch of rice, meat, beans, whatever I'm doing, I'll cook big batches of it. And then I'll just eat off that for usually about 3 or 4 days. And then once I run out, then I'll go ahead and make another batch. But it's really convenient to be able to make all your food ahead of time. And then you basically just, when you're ready to eat, you just throw it in a bowl and reheat it in the Instant Pot. It takes a couple of minutes and you're ready to eat. So I'm a pretty big fan of meal prepping. What are you doing for meal prepping, Justin?
Yeah, I'd like to add on to that. Just like for me personally, I get very impulsive in my food, and it's just a habit I haven't been able to break very easily. And so, going back to what you're saying about meal prepping, is that you want to make it's kind of this a philosophy where you want to make good habits as easy as possible um, in your immediate environment, right? And so, if you have food on hand that's really healthy and nutritious, that's already done and pre-made for you, like you're way more likely to want to go just eat that food if it's already there and ready for you and it's healthy, rather
Yep.
than like having to go out and drive somewhere to go get fast food. Because it's not much faster than in your own kitchen, right? So
Yeah.
I think that's a really good idea with the meal prepping, and I'd say I do something similar where I usually make go to the store, just buy as many fresh ingredients as I can, um, and um, try to. I also try. You have to be careful though, because when you're meal prepping, right? I made this mistake where I'll make a meal that I've never made before, but then it turns out terrible, and so I just spent a bunch of money and of time and ingredients making a big, 5 days worth of food that all sucked. So, my advice with the meal prep is that meal prep something that you've already made before. Don't try a new dish when you're trying to make, a week's worth of food at the same time. But
Yeah, I agree
that's
with
pretty much all I
that.
have to add with that.
That's why I keep a large stash of hot sauce.
Yeah.
I just dump hot sauce on everything, and no matter how terrible it was, it now tastes like delicious hot sauce. So I've definitely had that experience of making a meal and it did not turn out that good. And a little dash of hot sauce and you're back on the road. So one other thing I wanted to mention on eating good is if you really want to be a renegade, and this goes along with our friend Joe's idea of guerrilla gardening. If you really want to live off the land, you can forage. And if you're in a forest area, you can forage, you can fish, and you can hunt. Now, I've never personally met a van lifer that hunted, but I have met a lot of van lifers that forage and also that fished. And so I know those are both great options. In fact, one of the best meals that I've ever had is I met this dude up in Oregon that was like a survivalist, a naturist, and he made me a meal. So we were in the forest in Oregon and we were just hiking down this trail and he was just grabbing plants. Like I mean, I grew up in Oregon. I recognize all this stuff. Like I didn't know any of this was edible. I had no idea how many foods are edible around you. And so he's grabbing all this stuff and like ferns and grass. And I'm like, this looks like a terrible idea. But we brought it back to camp and he just sauteed it in a pan with a little bit of butter and it was absolutely delicious. And one of the best parts is he had this specific plant called a fiddlehead fern. And so it's called a fiddlehead because it's like a regular fern looking plant, but then on the tip it comes up and does a curl, and it's like a big round, almost like a seed pod. And when he cooked it, sauteed it lightly with butter, and then you eat it, it has like a consistency almost like a meat. Like it's really it really tripped me out because I was like, this leaf plant thing should not taste as good as it did. It was absolutely delicious. So I definitely recommend if you're interested, get a book. Yeah, while it says dandelions are good too. I've also seen dandelion greens for sale in Whole Foods. They're like 350 a bunch for dandelion
Wow.
greens. So I definitely recommend if you want to get a book for your area that's foraging. I have one for Oregon, and you can get them all over. But get a local foraging book and try to find some food in your area.
Yeah, I've heard you can make dandelion honey too, and so never tried that, but it seems like it's pretty popular in the organic community. So, and then I remember when I was with my ex, we would go hiking, and she was kind of the same way. She was very much in tune with like the plant types, and I remember she
Yeah.
plucked this one out of the ground and was like, "Here, eat this. It tastes like licorice." And I was like, "What?" And sure enough, tastes like licorice. So I'll never
Yeah.
forget that moment. But
Yeah, it's crazy. You never know. But if you think about it, most of the things we eat anyway, they're coming from plants. Most medicines are made from plants. And so it's like, it's really just modern society that's like kind of trained us to think like, oh, you have to get this pre-made, prepackaged thing, but at the base of it, most of that stuff all comes from, you know, ingredients that grow naturally on the planet anyway. So there's definitely a lot to be said for that. I did want to mention really quick this photo on the right, of me holding the bowl. This photo is from Austin, Texas, and this was one of my favorite VanLife meals. It's just, let's see, jasmine rice that I cooked in the Instant Pot with some turmeric, and then we got Justin's famous HEB chicken. And so this can only be had in the Texas area if you are staying with Justin. He goes to HEB. They sell this like pre-seasoned chicken. It's delicious. And then I think really though the key to locking in the moisture, keeping it so savory, is he cooks it in a cast iron on an induction cooktop, which is pretty genius. But the cast iron just adds this level of seasoning and flavoring, and it's delicious. And then I threw a little avocado on top, and it's so good. I mean, when you have meals like this, you're, like Justin said earlier, you're definitely not as tempted to go hit the drive-through, especially when a drive-through meal is going to cost you $7, $8, $10, you know, and you're doing the math now because you're shopping for ingredients and you're like, $7, I could buy chicken and rice and avocado, and I could have, you know, 3 days worth of meals instead of just one meal for $7. So I definitely think that also is something to keep in mind. And I'm looking at the chat. I see Diana asks, do you have a trivet for the Instant Pot to raise your bowls off the bottom of the pot? Yes, Diana, I sure do. I have the trivet that I use. And so when I'm reheating my meals, I have the trivet that goes in the bottom of the Instant Pot. I fill it with water that goes just below the trivet, about 1 inch of water or so. And then I have a bowl. Let me grab it for you. So I have this metal bowl that I use in the Instant Pot that sits right on the trivet, and you can cook your food, eat it right out of it. And then recently I acquired this glass bowl as well. And so now I have 2 different bowls that I can use in the Instant Pot to reheat my meals. And the nice thing too is this is your only dishes, you know, so you have 1 bowl and 1 fork, and that's it. You know, you're not doing a bunch of dishes. It's easy to clean up. And I know Walt does as well. Walt has the trivet. He has a metal bowl. He also mentions he has a silicone bowl. So that might be something to think about. That would probably collapse down pretty nicely. You know, you could go that way as well. So definitely the Instant Pot is awesome because you can use the free energy from the sun to cook with. You're not paying for propane. It's a renewable source. And you're cooking your meals and reheating your meals all, you know, with one device in one dish. And I totally did away with propane in my current build. It's all electric. So I think it's a good choice. Definitely do an Instant Pot for cooking and heating.
I'm getting hungry just looking at that photo with the bowl, with the avocado and the chicken. I'm just like, I want some of that. It looks good,
doesn't it? I wish I had some right now. That was absolutely tasty. So let's keep it rolling. We're going to step on to, I like this one. This is exercise isn't boring. And so I wanted to talk a little bit about exercise. The reason why is me personally, I have this love-hate relationship with exercise. I like being active. You know, I like walking and hiking and riding my bike and swimming, but I do not like going to a gym and being inside of a concrete jungle and just doing a repetitive motion for an hour. That has been my struggle in the past, you know, with trying to live a normal life where you're working and you're busy and then you go to the gym on the way home. It's just hard for me, you know, to sit in the gym for an hour and do weights. And so the great thing about van life is exercise does not have to be boring. And so when you're living the van life, you're already out in nature. And so it's easy to hike. It's easy to go on walks when you just open your door, put on your shoes, and head out into the wilderness. So I think it definitely makes exercise easy. It's accessible and it's free. You know, you can just go for a walk, go for a ride, whatever you like to do. And then the other part of that is I think changing locations as you're a van lifer and a nomad, and you're changing locations. You know, you're also kind of, the scenery is always changing. So it's always new. You have new hikes. You might have lakes or rivers or mountains, or maybe you're in the desert. So it gives you a nice variety where you're just getting out of that monotonous cycle of going to the gym and running on a treadmill. And Walt mentions he likes walking and hiking, and I agree. I know Walt has been hiking for a long time, and he's usually out there at the crack of dawn with his big hat on and his walking stick, and he's hitting the trails. Even out here in the desert, he doesn't care. He's just out getting exercise. So I think it's definitely a great choice. And that kind of just dovetails in nicely with the idea of, now that you have more free time, you can be more intentional with how you spend your day and what type of exercise you do. And so for me, I like walks and hikes are very important to me. I like to just physically walk and explore and see where trails lead me. I also like to travel with a bicycle. I love my bicycle. And so I like the fact I can go a lot further, a lot quicker on a bicycle. So I think that's fun. I know when me and Justin were in Texas, we had some really fun bike rides, some really fun early morning Texas bike rides, and then also some like evening sunset bike rides. We had one where neither of us had our phones with us, and we were like in the city, and we took off, and it got dark, and we had no lights and like no map to get home, and it was quite the adventure. But that's all part of van life, right? Is just kind of getting into that adventure and just seeing where it takes you.
Right. It reminds me like of this quote where it was like, you'll drive 3 miles to get to the gym to work out for 30 minutes, and then drive back home 3 miles. And it's like, well, you could have just ran to the gym or walked to the gym and got the same amount of exercise and like get some fresh air and, not have people watching you, breathing down your neck, having to obey the gym rules and stuff like that. So
I think that's a great point. There's an opportunity to exercise everywhere, and Walt mentions chopping wood by campfires.
Yeah, I love that one.
Just being in the van life, you're going to be moving a lot more. You're not going to be, just hanging out as much, right? Like sedentary. You're going to be moving, exploring, doing chores and stuff. So there's a lot more opportunities to move and kind of get around. Personally, I travel with a bicycle. I travel with a yoga mat, and then also I have resistance bands that I do that pack up pretty small, and so that allows you to work all your muscles, your arms and legs, and you can do it wherever you want. So I think those are great exercise opportunities for myself. Diana asks if I get an opportunity to swim in lakes, and the answer to that is yes. I will say that I personally am. I like warm weather. So if I'm in an area where the water is decent, then I definitely do swim. When I was in Oregon last summer, I spent quite a bit of time up in Cougar Reservoir. And so we were up there in like August, July, August. It was hot. The water was warm. And so I did a lot of swimming, and it was just really fun. So I think besides just the exercise of swimming, I think just surrounding yourself by water, you're letting your entire body absorb water and absorb oxygenated water and drinking the minerals that are there as well. So I really do believe that just being in water itself is a really nice
well, we're going to be in San Diego for Tiny Fest too, so we're definitely going to be at the beach, and we're definitely going to be swimming around. So
yep, we're going to be in San Diego for Tiny Fest, and so I definitely plan to be out in the water. Maybe we can go check out Fiesta Island, do some swimming. I got a few different spots mapped out. So we're definitely going to stay a few days after the event and just hang out and do some swimming. I was just in San Diego about a month ago, and I loved it. It was so nice to be on the ocean again and have my feet in the fresh salt water. It was a wonderful thing. And so Justin had an experience, and I kind of like this too. He mentioned gym, like I mentioned, gym memberships. I don't really like being in gyms, but I have been rock climbing before in rock climbing gyms. And I really enjoyed rock climbing because mentally you're staying active. You're looking at your next handholds and you're climbing, and it's more interactive and your mind stays busy. And I had my earbuds in listening to music. So I really enjoyed my experience rock climbing. And so Justin mentioned, hey, you could swap your gym membership for a rock gym membership. Justin, you want to tell us about that?
yeah, so my best friend up here, his name's James, and he introduced me to rock climbing. He's like, "Do you have to go to indoor rock climbing? It's so cool." And I'm like, "All right, let's do it." And So we go to the gym, and I didn't realize how much fun I was going to have. It was an incredible experience. I felt like a kid again. Felt like a kid at the jungle gym where you're like moving your whole body around, going up the walls. And then it's this. It's also we kind of talked about this earlier, but it's almost like a bonding experience because your life is literally in somebody else's hands. It's like you're dependent on them being there for you as like a counterweight when you go to fall. Like you got to make sure that they got your back. And so it's really a unique bonding experience between you and whoever you're going with, your mentor. And it's just like I said, it's just fun. And then on top of that, a lot of van lifers have gym memberships anyway to take showers, so you got access to the shower equipment there. And then on top of that, like you're saying, a lot of gyms also have just standard workout equipment, and so you can you can have your cake and eat it too, and then get an awesome workout. And with rock climbing, you're working out a lot more muscles in your body at the same time. It's kind of like swimming in a sense, where your body's kind of going into these unique positions, and you're working out a lot more muscles. So just a random thought, swap. The thing about rock gym memberships, though, is that they're usually locally based, whereas gym
Right.
can be like the whole country. So, you kind of have to, if you're staying in one area, look into that. But if you're going to be traveling a lot, you're probably just going to want a regular gym membership.
Yeah. So I was going to mention, I have a friend actually that lives in a bus, a short bus, and he was telling me that he stayed at a local rock gym for like a few months. So I guess the rock gym community is pretty tight. And so whatever town he was in, he bought a membership at the local rock gym. He was hanging out, climbing, using the showers, all that kind of stuff. But then they let him just camp out in the parking lot. And I guess it's not an uncommon thing that, like, people that are traveling through that are climbers, the gyms will let you stay in the parking lot. So that's something else to consider. And I know that a lot of those gyms, they'll sell day passes, or you can buy like a 1 month at a time. So it's not, the difference with the rock gym is it's not that corporate mindset of like, we're going to get you committed to this membership and then we're going to hold you here, for 12 months. We're just going to bill you,
so
nonstop.
Exploitive.
Yeah, they want you to be there, and then when you don't want to be there, they let you go. So rock gyms are a whole nother animal. They're not as sadistic as a traditional gym membership. So definitely.
I got a small tangent where I want to go off real quick. 24-hour fitness. Fuck those guys, man. Like, I went to go cancel my membership because my membership was going to renew like the next week or whatever, right? I go in there Friday. They're like, oh, you can't cancel your membership because our manager just left. And in order to cancel a membership, the manager has to approve it or something. And I said, okay, well, it renews next week. And they're like, sorry, manager's not here. It's not happening. And I'm like, what? Like, I can't cancel my membership at any time? Like, what kind of crazy scam is this? So anyway, I just like decided I canceled my credit card, and then I counted it as lost, and then just got a new credit card, and then they couldn't bill me anymore. So
that's a boss move, man. Just cancel that credit card.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hear you. I think what happened is people were canceling their gym memberships. And so all these gyms are just struggling to figure out how can they prevent people from canceling. So they just want to make it as difficult as they can, which is pretty messed up, really, for a business, right? It's like people don't want to do business with you, and you're going to do whatever you can to like keep them around. It's kind of messed up. But I had that same issue. I had a 24-hour membership, and I had to go in person and like talk to the manager to cancel it. It's stupid. So if you can avoid that, definitely do it. Nicole mentions in the chat, ClassPass is great. And I think, I'm not 100% familiar with ClassPass, but I think that's one where you buy like a membership online, and then I think there's different like smaller gyms all throughout the country that are part of this ClassPass network. And so depending on where you're at, you can use these ClassPass credits at a local class. And so you can do like yoga or like cycling or Pilates, whatever you want to do. Maybe they have rock climbing, but it's the idea that you buy into this membership, but then it's good all throughout the country. So
Oh, that's
That's
cool.
definitely, yeah, that's a great mention that I haven't looked into ClassPass. That's something to consider. So, so I think we did a good job here with exercise. We're going to go to one more slide. Justin was nice enough to do a little ground reconnaissance work in the Seattle area, and he went around and found a local park that actually had some exercise equipment at it. And I've seen the same thing both in Austin, Texas, and also in Arizona at Lake Havasu. They also have a workout circuit gym, and I've also seen them in Oregon. So they're actually pretty common. Justin, if you want to tell us a little bit about the situation here, go ahead.
Yeah, so I first saw these in Austin, Texas with you, and they were a lot more popular there just because I think the climate's a little bit better. These don't get used too often. These are relatively new equipment that showed up in our park probably within the last year or so. But it's wonderful. I love like the pull-up bars, and they've got the menu there. So they've got a bunch of different types of workouts that you can do to exercise different parts of your body. And there's actually it's hard to see from these photos, but there's actually like three different types of equipment there. So there's like one for pull-ups, and there's a balance. The far right photo is like a little balance wheel, and so it's to help train your balance. And so you don't necessarily need a gym membership. Matter of fact, my friend's I forget what the terminology is called, but he specializes in like exercise, and he's selling like for a lot of these workouts, for a lot of like pretty much for every type of muscle you need to work out, there's something that you can do without any equipment for free, just in your
Right.
immediate area. So it's nice that these are available publicly to use for anybody, especially like the pull-up bars are really useful. Um, and I did get a chance to like test them out a little bit. They seemed like pretty good stuff, but it's also pretty basic, so
Yeah.
nothing like
I
a gym
like it,
membership.
man. It's nice that the options are out there. And the cool thing too is depending where you're staying at, on the road, I oftentimes park my vehicle near city parks because usually there's a lot of street parking and not in the parking lots themselves, but just kind of on the street in that area. And so if you stayed the night, near this park, you could get up if you wanted first thing, go for a walk around the neighborhood, and then you could hit a little exercise circuit here as well. Which that's something else I didn't mention. But one of my favorite things about going someplace new is, especially when you pull in at night, you kind of pull in at night, get a parking spot, go to bed, but then you get up the next morning and then you get to go out and kind of explore the area. So I really enjoy the exploration side of van life. And that's why I like walking and hiking so much, is just kind of figuring out what's going on in the area. I think as humans, I think we really are explorers at heart. And so I think obviously if you're living van life, you can relate at least a little bit to really appreciating the exploration part of that. So,
Yeah,
so
Google Maps comes in handy for exploring a bunch. And then I also really like exploring with my drone because I
yeah,
can go into like the real deep forest areas and kind of go off trails. There'll be like a fence with like some gang signs on it. So it's like, okay, well, I don't want to go there in person, but I'll send a drone in there to see like, I'm just curious, like what's behind that fence with the gang signs.
yeah,
And so I'll send my drone in there. So very fun tool to have for exploring and then just taking cool photos and giving
yeah.
people a different angle. And it's just a fun hobby to have. People like to see what their property looks like from different viewpoints. So
It is. It's cool. And I'm just going to roll back. But this photo right here, this is a drone photo Justin took. And I mean, it's absolutely beautiful. I love how you see the coast on one side. It looks like the sun is probably going down a little bit. It's a nice golden hour photo. And then on the right hand side, you see the bay. And so it's kind of cool to just get this above ground vantage point and just see exactly where you're at. And it's beautiful. You can share that photo and people really appreciate uh, that type of vantage point. So I definitely think a drone is a great tool to have in your arsenal, along with your soldering iron.
hey, in case it breaks, because I definitely broken two drones at this point. So
Yep, absolutely. So I think we covered it. Exercise isn't boring. I think that's important. You just got to shift your mindset. It doesn't have to be boring. So the last thing we wanted to kind of touch on is maintaining your mental health. And I just wanted to say, first of all, I am no expert. I have plenty of mental health challenges myself. I'm sure Justin has his own trials and tribulations. All of us do. You know, these physical bodies that we're in, we didn't get instruction manuals. You know, we didn't get really very much guidance. All of a sudden, here we are, and then it's on us to figure it out. So everyone's kind of doing the best they can with what they got. But it is important when you're living the van life to try to, you know, maintain a healthy mindset, and not, there can definitely be a tendency to spend more time alone. And if you're somebody that doesn't like being alone, you can mentally let that lead you down a path of more loneliness. And so I think it's important to just make sure that if you are that type of person, that you're getting your interactions, and there's plenty of interactions to be had out here on the road. And so the first thing I wanted to touch on as far as mental health is, I just think in general, I know for me, being in nature, being in the calmness of Mother Nature is very comforting. It's very healing. It's very relaxing. Just being next to a river, being out in the forest, being last night, me and Nicole rode our bikes out. We watched the sunset out here in the desert of Yuma, Arizona. It was absolutely beautiful. And so just having that alone time with Mother Nature, I think, is very healing. And it definitely helps kind of recenter you, and all the stuff that your mind was racing and thinking about, it kind of helps just eject all that noise, and helps you be kind of quiet your mind a little bit. So I think spending time in nature is a huge way that you can improve your mental health. Also, we already talked about, you know, taking charge of your eating habits as well as your exercise. And so I think there's a lot of evidence out that goes to show you that eating and exercise is an important component of mental health. So if you're already doing those things, you're already going to be one step closer to premium state of mental health. And then
I add to that real quick.
Yeah, go ahead, Justin. Tell me what you got.
So, you know, I talked to you about this personally, but I was having these random splitting headaches that were going on for quite a while, and I couldn't figure out what was causing it. And one of them was happening right before a live stream like 2 weeks ago. And I was really concerned, like, oh my God, like, is this going to spill over into the live stream, and like, you know, start like, people are going to hate me because I'm so moody. And what I found out very recently was I went to go house sit for my neighbors, and they watched their dogs for a week. But while I was there, I had coffee every single morning. And then I realized the day after I had a splitting headache again, and I couldn't figure out. And then I was like, oh, it's the coffee. It's the caffeine that I was drinking every morning. And then the next day I wasn't having my coffee. And so I was getting like these like craving headaches. And, you know, as soon as I went to McDonald's and got some coffee, like it went away magically. So I was like, okay, well, this is something I need to eliminate from my diet then. And with something like that, I recommend not going cold turkey, just because that tends to hit you really hard, and it's much easier just to wane off it after a few days. You know, pretty much with any other addiction, that's the best way to do it. But I cold turkeyed many things in my life, and so this was no exception.
Yeah, I like that. I appreciate that input. I have a friend that had a similar situation where just going cold turkey off the coffee, he would get splitting headaches. And so his solution was just to get more coffee. But,
yeah, double down.
I gotta have my coffee, you know. I mean, however you want to handle it, that's your choice. But definitely be aware of you know, some of those stimulants can have side effects. Same for energy drinks too. If you're on the energy drink bandwagon, going cold turkey off of those can give you some headaches as well.
Yep. I used to smoke weed all the time, and now I haven't smoked in many months, and it's been great. Now it's like I don't even have any desire to do it. You know, it's just like, cool.
Yeah, definitely. It's amazing. You know, when you remove yourself from that situation, from the substance, and you give your body time to clear out, you know, you'll find more clarity, and you'll realize maybe I didn't need that in the first place, you know. So
right. I think it has to do with like moderation.
Yeah, moderation. Absolutely. Yep. Moderation. nothing daily except for eating, drinking, and sleeping, right? That's the, got
Right.
to do those and eliminating waste, but otherwise,
That
all the other stuff,
drink
moderation.
water every day doesn't sound as catchy.
Yeah, drink water. Drinking water at night doesn't sound as exciting as going out for a beer, does it? Hey, come on over to my house. We're gonna drink water. So, moving right along, social interactions. No matter what, as human beings, I believe everyone needs some level of social interaction, and so it's up to you individually to decide what that looks like for you. Some people still don't need a lot of interactions; other people do, and so you can alter your van life lifestyle to fit that need. So I know a lot of people that want to be more social. They spend more time in the cities or kind of jumping from like event to event, or when they're going to a new city, they're reaching out to other van lifers, maybe on Instagram or on Facebook, to find out where people are staying. And so it is possible to travel full time, live van life, but still be social and still, be interacting with people on a regular basis. Um, I was gonna
I'd
a couple
argue
photos.
it gives you way more opportunity to be social because you're not stuck, like yeah, a lot of people have like pets that they can't really leave their property for too long without having to go back. And so, with van life, you're taking all your pets and everything with you, so there's more opportunity to be social.
Yeah, and I think one of my favorite memories. I really have a soft spot in my heart for Austin, Texas. This last summer was just so magical, and I think my favorite part was honestly the first month I was in Austin, and I ended up staying at the park downtown, Zilker Park. And I don't know, I was staying on by myself just in different spots for a while, and then I drove by Zilker one day, and I saw a bunch of van lifers parked at this parking lot, and I just pulled up to see who was there, and it was Justin was there, and then there was this other guy Andy, and then this other guy Joe, and then also Jacob and Elise. So there was like six van lifers, and we all just like hung out that night, and we ended up kind of clicking, and we spent, I don't know, at least a month, I would say, all kind of hanging out there at that one spot. And like, so a couple people had day jobs. Andy would go work during the day, Joe would go work during the day, but then everyone would come back in the evening, and we'd hang out and make dinner, and drink a beer or two. And it was cool because it's the kind of stuff that doesn't really happen anymore. This is, I feel like the life that most of us live now, the modern societal life, it's so busy and fast paced that everyone's got their own stuff, and there's no time to just kind of hang and just relax and be in good company. And so van life really allows you to do that. And so for us, we made it work at the park in Austin, but you can do it out in the desert in Arizona. You can do it on BLM land in Oregon. You can do it anywhere, but they're really, you can have an option to have that really close community bond that just doesn't exist, in the normal house lifestyle. Do you have any thoughts on that, Justin?
Yeah, I would say that when I first started my journey, I didn't know there was a My People. I didn't know that there was a group of van lifers. And I was kind of solo dolo here in Seattle, and I didn't really have any guidance or anybody telling me like I can or what I can or can't do. And so I just decided to kind of start traveling to see friends and family. And then after seeing friends and family, it turned into, okay, well, now I want to explore more, right? Instead of visiting friends, just go see the world, explore it. And so that led me to Texas. And that's when I realized, oh, there's actually a community of van lifers, and there's a people. Your people's out there,
Yeah.
And it was one of those things where it's like I didn't even think that that was possible. But I've been talking to my neighbors a lot, and I've been talking to my immediate friends and family, and I was actually surprised. A lot of them do the van life. They might not do it full time like we do, but they have like RVs, or they have campers, or they have converted trucks that they've lived in and stayed in and gone camping in and gone road tripping in. And so people are doing the van life, and it's way more popular than I had even thought about. But I think we're a lot more decentralized than people that just live in housing communities. Like if you go to an apartment complex, like everybody there lives in an apartment complex, but the van lifers were kind of spread thin and spread out quite a bit. And we know a lot of us try to keep to ourselves. That's the nice thing, is that if we want a private life, we can live a private life. But if we want to be social, we can go be social with people. So
Yeah.
we're just not as in your face as like people with houses, but there's a lot of us out there, and I highly recommend finding your people. It was such a blessed feeling to go to Zuckel Park and then see like 8 other people in cars there, and then I was like, okay, well, this is awesome. And so what can we do together? Like, well, let's go cooking, let's go jump in the lake, let's go hang out after work, and go to Zolker Park and listen to the band or whatever.
Yeah, and that reminds me, actually, going back to Diana's question about if we get a chance to go swimming ever. This park in Austin was so incredible because you could stay there as long as you want in the park overnight, and then you could just walk across the park. The other side from the parking lot, there was this beautiful spring. It's called Barton Springs, and it's literally fresh mineral spring water bubbling out of the ground. So it's
in
probably
that
one of
photo.
the cleanest. Yeah, it's in this photo right here, actually. That photo that's my dog Lucy. She's in the hammock with me, and we're hanging out at Barton Springs. And so it's probably one of the cleanest water sources you can find. And we would, after a hot days of work, we would all just get together, walk across the park, and then go swim in the river here. And so it was just incredible to have that opportunity. So that was a great option for all of us to go swimming, cool off, clean up, and just kind of relax after a long day. So
Photo with the scooters when I was charging. What I also found out was that if you do the Lime scooter charging, you get to use that Lime scooter for free for the 24 hours that you're dedicated to charging that scooter. So I don't think I ever took anybody up on that offer, but if you have friends and you want to make a couple extra bucks, it's like, instead of paying for a Lime scooter, just say you're going to charge it and then go ride it around for as much as you want and then charge it.
that's a great tip, man. That's a way to have a lot of fun for free, right? I mean, I definitely I like that.
Well,
That's
yeah,
awesome.
it's not even free. You get paid.
Well, even better, right? Yeah, you're getting paid at the same time. So I like it. So we got a comment here from Bryson. And so he says, these kind of connections is what I like from van life. Some of my best friends I met while traveling or building my van. And I agree with that. In fact, this photo I have here of the school bus with everybody on top, that was about 2 years ago up in Oregon. And that was 4th of July weekend. And so it was me and a couple friends, and we decided we were going to go out for 4th of July. We didn't have any plans, but my friend, he reached out on Instagram and was like, hey, we're going to go camping. This is the spot. Who wants to join? And it ended up with like 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. There was about 16 people that showed up, about 6 rigs that came in. And this was all new people to me. I think I knew like maybe one other rig there, but it was all just van lifers that were in the spot and were like, hey, let's meet up. And so we came together, everybody stayed. We were there for like probably 3 or 4 days. And it was just a great time. And everybody I met there, I'm still in contact with. And, I made some really great friends. So the cool thing about van life is when you get together, you already have so much in common with these people that they're really not strangers. They're just friends you haven't met yet, because they're already like-minded. They're already living a similar lifestyle. So really any van lifer is just a chance to make another friend. So I definitely think any chance you get to go to any kind of meetups or gatherings that are van life style, I would definitely recommend to do that. And so I have another question here from Diana. She says, off subject, how do you handle animal tags and vaccines when traveling? And I'm not sure animal tags. I mean, there's like animal tags for hunting, and then there's animal tags for your pets. I assume you're talking about pets. And so, I grew up in the country in Oregon, and we never had tags for our pets. I know that when you're in certain cities, the cities require you to license your pets. But yeah, yeah, she says pets. I assume Diana's not hunting, but I mean, if you are Diana, then good for you. I mean, you're just a queen of all trades. But
Teach me.
yeah, Justin wants to be taught. How do you hunt, Diana? But yeah, so as far as tags and vaccines for pets, I'm pretty sure you only need to register the pet for the town that you're living in. And so if you're living van life, you're technically just a traveler. And so I don't think you have to register your pets. And then as far as vaccines go, you know, if you use like a big pet chain like Petco has Banfield clinics inside of them. And so I take Lucy to Banfield and they're all over the country. They're inside of a lot of Petcos. And so they'll have all your records on file. And so if you ever need a record of your pet's medical history or you need an updated vaccine or whatever for your pet, then you can do that. So I would recommend if you're traveling a lot, find a large chain veterinarian and they will take care of you. And if you're traveling part-time, then you can just have them updated when you go back home. So that's a nice lead in to our next topic or our next little subcategory, which is pet companions. And so, you know, many of us nomads have pets. I think pets are a great part of van life. You know, it feels pretty lonely when you don't have a pet, but just having a dog or some people have cats, whatever you like, having one with you, I think it's great. You know, there's definitely something about having another creature in your space that's somewhat reliant on you that you're taking care of. It definitely fulfills a role, I think, as a parent. Maybe you feel a little bit like you're parenting this pet. So I don't know. It definitely makes you feel nice, and you don't feel alone. And you know, they make great hiking partners, and they make great cuddle buddies, and they're always happy to share a meal with you. So I travel with Lucy. She is an 8-year-old Boston Terrier, and she is my pet. She is passed out right now. It's hot, and so she's laying on the floor. But I definitely recommend pets if you feel so inclined. How about you, Justin? Are you thinking about pulling the trigger on some kind of pet? Maybe a beta fish. Your space is kind of limited.
Yeah, I was thinking I might get a rat or something because I feel like if I leave a cat or a dog in my car, somebody will try to like break my window in. So I was like, well, if it's a rat, I don't think they would care.
A rat. That's an interesting choice. You could definitely do a rat. I would just advise you make sure you train the rat not to chew on your wiring because
Right.
that's like when you go out into the forest, that's like the number one thing is you get mice up in your engine bay and they chew on stuff. So just make sure you train it well. But I have confidence in you. You can train the rat properly.
Yeah. Well, not so serious in that aspect, but if I was gonna have a pet, I definitely want a cat. I've been born and raised with like so many dogs in my life that it's like cats just seem cool, and I've got friends that have cats and they're super chill. But I don't have enough space here in this vehicle to raise one properly. So maybe in my next rig, I'll upgrade and as a celebratory event, I'll get a pet as well.
Okay, I like it. I like it. So Justin, when he upgrades his home on wheels to something a little larger, you might see him with a cat. I think he should get a little hairless cat like Dr. Evil, you know, like the little hairless cat. I think that'd
Yeah,
be a
the
good choice.
Sphinx ones. Those are cool,
Yeah.
man. I would
And then
totally
they
be
don't
down for
shed,
one.
right? I mean, they don't have any hair anyway, so what are they going to
It's the
shed?
closest. It's the closest cat to a rat. So
Yeah, that's where cat meets rat is with a sphinx. So that might be a good choice for you, buddy. I like it. So that I think that covers it. You know, maintaining your mental health. I think we did it pretty well. These are just all things to consider and to be aware of. And so, as we're kind of wrapping up our session here, we went a little over an hour. So I think we did well. I hope everyone pulled a little bit of information out of today's topic. And I wanted to remind you guys too, make sure you're signed up on our website, vanliferx.com. I know Diana and Walt and Nicole and Justin are all signed up. Bryson, I'm not sure if you are, but to anyone watching, go to vanliferx.com. And then from there, you can sign up to be notified. So we'll notify you guys of upcoming live events and any type of group activities we're doing. We'll keep you in the loop. We promise not to spam you. We're not going to sell your information. I'm not going to send you an email every day or multiple emails a day. It won't be crazy, but it'll just keep you in the loop and provide some valuable info. I send out some pretty good tips and tricks once in a while through the emails. So we'd love to have you guys on board. And as VanLife RX continues to grow, we're going to be doing some more in-person events and some meetups. And we have a few people with land that have offered up some space. So, we really want to build community and get together and just share the camaraderie of van life. So if you would please go to the website, sign up. We'd love to have you on board. And if anyone has any questions, go ahead and just type them in now before we wrap up. And
I would say,
add to that?
Yeah, we're also looking for moderators for the website. So if you're interested in helping out with the website, either through the Zoom meetings or just the forums, or we're just looking for basically more staff members to help run the website. So if you're interested in that, please reach out to us on the email on our website.
Gotcha. Yeah. I just saw we got a message come in from Bryson. He said this seemed more like a presentation. Do you do Zooms that are just chats? And you're absolutely right, Bryson. This was more of a presentation. We're kind of just getting rolling here with VanLife RX. So our participation is pretty low at the moment. So we're trying to build an audience, and we definitely want to move to just more of an open chat. And so as we get more people, that are coming into the live streams that want to do that, then we would love to just have an open chat, including people like yourself. And so that would require a couple more people watching, and then probably just, you'd want to turn on your camera and do a little face-to-face. So yeah, we definitely want to do some one-on-one chats and just kind of keep communication open. So let me know if you have any topics you'd like to chat about. I feel like in general, on a chat, it's good to have some kind of a general discussion topic, or just something to kind of get the ball rolling. So if you have any ideas, send us an email. VanLife, hello@vanliferx.com. Send us an email. Anybody watching, let us know what you'd like to chat about, and let us know if you'd be interested in joining a live chat, and maybe we can do something sooner than later. Hey, there he is. I see Bryson just turned his camera on. I appreciate it, man.
I almost did that earlier, but it seemed like you kind of had, like, people are asking questions in the chat. But yeah.
Yeah, no, I love to see your face. I love it. Tell me what's going on, man. Where are you?
So we're in Arkansas right now, but we just came back from Florida. We were down in Florida for December, January, February.
Okay.
So yeah.
I love it. Did you do Schoolie Swarm? I saw that was going on not too long ago in Florida.
I didn't actually pay attention to too much of the community stuff going on, because there was enough people that we were just kind of meeting that we had met through Instagram or Facebook or something. But I would say I've been traveling, I'm from Seattle, by the way.
So you know what I'm going through right now. It's raining, by the way.
That's what happens during the winter. Summers are lovely. I spent the last 3 summers up in Seattle area. I love it up there during the summer. But we've kind of transitioned into being in Pacific Northwest for the summer, and then gradually migrating down to Florida for the winter.
Yep.
But Florida is probably one of the hardest places I've found to stay. But the longer we do it, the easier it gets. But it just doesn't have the BLM land, the national forests. Even Walmarts. All right, it's probably more like California. I assume where most places, don't let you stay there. But
Seattle's not necessarily easy either.
Yeah, Seattle actually. Yeah, but you don't have to go too far from the civilization there to get to places to stay. But yeah, if you're trying to stay in town, it's harder.
Yeah, I've heard the same thing. I've heard that Florida, I've never been to Florida, but I've heard it's a lot tougher for van life, just because of that. They don't have all the open land. So it's definitely on my list. I want to check it out, and I assume I'll just be doing some stealth camping. What was your experience, Bryson? What were you doing, or how were you able to make it down there?
One cool thing about Florida, like Walmart isn't a place where you could really go. Sometimes you could. You definitely iOverlander and some of those other apps help with that.
Yeah.
But Cracker Barrels in Florida are pretty friendly. Like even you could be right next to a Walmart that won't allow it because of the city ordinance, but then the Cracker Barrel will. So but then also after our first year of doing it, we found out that the water management districts in Florida, they have like these reserves that offer free campgrounds. So you're limited to like a month out of every year staying on them, and you can stay for a week at a time, I think. But you can go to these campgrounds, and they have like the one we went at. It had an actual picnic table, and it had pit toilets. So
that's nice.
Provided you can boondock, that you got solar and you've got water and stuff like that. It was a way to get away from everyone. And it was free. It was crazy that it was free like that. Like, and then where else do we stay? And then there's the normal just kind of stealth stuff. But
yeah, that's awesome. That's great to hear about. And that's what I've noticed about van life is kind of the more you do it and the more you spend time in a place, the more you'll kind of unlock the secrets, right? So it's harder to find the information online, but once you're in it and you talk to people, then you kind of find your way. And that's kind of sounds like
we'll make our own maps.
Yeah, definitely. You start to do that the more you do it. You just have your own map that you map the places that you like to be.
Yeah.
I think we can make a shared Google Doc or something.
I think Google you only really want to share those places with your friends, though.
Right. Yeah, you definitely
really
want
to places. You're like,
minimum,
you're my friend, so I'll tell you, but I don't want to tell just everyone because I don't want it to be gone when I come back.
Yeah, you don't want it to be overrun. I hear that. Hey, Bryson, what type of vehicle are you in?
I have a 170 extended Sprinter.
Okay.
Nice.
Okay, nice. Yeah, so that's good for like stealth camping and stuff. That's no problem.
Yeah, we purposely try to keep it more stealth. So, but I've got a wife and I've got 4 kids in there too.
Wow!
Whoa! Congratulations, man. That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool. Do you have bunk beds?
We have an upper bunk that 3 of the kids sleep on, and then we have the main bunk that my wife and I are on. It converts into like a table, so it's like 2 benches. You've seen those layouts. And so when it's not in table mode, it's actually a bed underneath for the 4th kid.
Oh, nice.
Here's one of my daughters.
Cool.
Hey!
Do you like traveling in the van?
Yes.
Yeah, kids love it. It's such a great life for kids. I'm glad to see the next generation out there doing it.
Yeah, gives me hope for the future.
That's cool, man. Hey, I wanted to just mention something really quick since you guys are talking about spending summers in the Pacific Northwest. I just saw in the Schoolypalooza Facebook group, there's a conscious community up in the Olympic National Rainforest, which is like pretty far up into Washington, called The Seed. And so they just posted a work stay opportunity, and they're a 5-acre off-grid retreat. It says they're at the base of the Olympic National Rainforest in Washington. And so they're looking for people, if you want, you can just go stay there for the summer, or they have like some work trade options. So they say if you donate 14 hours a week helping out on their property, then you can stay there for free. And then you have access to the resources and then everything on the land as well. It looks like they have a garden, all kinds of stuff. So their website
is sweet gig.
Yeah, their website is artvangrow.com, and it's called The Seed. It's an intentional community. But anyone that's up in the Pacific Northwest, that might be cool to check out. I just like places that cater to van life and that are out in nature, and it's be kind of cool to hang out there maybe.
Well, 14 hours is pretty reasonable too. It's not a whole lot of time. And like when you're working in those kind of communities, I feel like the time goes by quicker anyway, because you're usually like working with people or working on a unique project that, interests you. So
yeah, and I like just, it's an opportunity to meet people and just find out what's going on, make connections, and, possibly find a new place to travel or whatever. But I don't know, it sounded kind of cool. And I don't know, I dig it. I might check it out I'd like to go back up to the Olympic rainforest, so I might check it out. Might be something to do. Yeah, so I like it. Thanks for jumping in, Bryson. I appreciate it. I appreciate you sharing your video, and I definitely would like to do more just community chats. So maybe maybe we can just pencil that in, that we just go ahead and have them, and we keep it unstructured and just let the people talk. What do you think, Diana? I see you shaking your head. You like it? You want to chat? She likes it. I see. Yeah. She threw in a comment too. She said you can have a Harvest Host or a Boondockers Welcome memberships if you can afford it. So that's another way that you can find places to stay that's not, dependent upon government land, right? People will take you onto their private property. So that's also great options. So I like it. I think we're going to wrap up. We went for an hour and a half today. We did great. Thank you everyone for joining us. Thank you, Diana, for showing up. You're our all-time champion. Thank you, Bryson, for adding to the conversation. I appreciate you.
Hey, question, Walter, where's this posted after? It's recorded, right? Are you posting it on YouTube or something?
Yep. We're gonna post the replay on YouTube right here on VanLife RX. How did you find this today? Are you already following VanLife RX on YouTube?
Just the VanLife Facebook group.
Okay, cool. Yep, I posted that yesterday.
In there. Yeah.
Yep. Okay, cool. Yeah. So yeah, this will go back to my YouTube channel. But if you go to vanliferx.com, you can find links to everything. I'll have it also posted there. But definitely drop an email, stay in touch. You can watch the replay, and hopefully you can get in on one of our next live chats.
Cool.
We do them every week.
Yep, every week. Yeah, so every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Pacific, we will be going live on YouTube. So you can feel free to jump in next time if you want. We'd love to have you.
Cool. This is a great discussion.
Okay. Do you use this same Zoom, or you switched up every week?
Yeah, we use the same link. I just set it up as a reoccurring meeting. So this link will be the same one. So yeah, feel free to save it or whatever, hop back in. Hi, what's going on, Walt? How you doing?
Kathy says hi.
Kathy says hi. Kathy's still hanging out there, huh?
Yeah, come. There she is.
Hey, Kathy. Hi.
Hello.
That's awesome.
So they're up at Sholo right now, up on Walt's property. He's got a few acres off grid up there in northern Arizona.
Yeah, and if people are interested, they need to build something out. You want to bring some people up, Brad and Justin? I'd be up for that.
Wow.
Yeah,
thank you so much.
That's super generous. Walt has the space, and I have a bunch of tools and extra parts that I've just been like hauling around with me like a hobo. And so I'd love to put them to use, help somebody else out, or, have a place to leave them. But so yeah, anyone that's interested in a build out, we'll see what happens down in San Diego. I might be able to get a new rig, and maybe we can head over to Walt's place and do a little build or something. That'd be great.
Yeah, we'll have some fun.
All right, man. I appreciate it. So there's another option too. If anybody watching this, watching the replay, if they're interested in doing a build out in Arizona over the summer, this is northern Arizona, so the weather's good. All summer, you're going to be in the 80s, maybe low 90s, no humidity, no bugs. So it should be a pretty good spot if you want to build out a rig. I have experience doing build outs. And so we'll see if we can get a little group together, maybe have a good time, have some bonfires and a camp out. So.
Hell yeah.
It'd be fun. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, well, you never, I have another guy coming tomorrow, and on Tuesday I got 2 more coming. So that's going to be fun.
Oh yeah. Give us an update, Walt. What do you got going on up there? Who's coming in? What are they doing?
Well, what we're doing, I have a 31-foot old trailer that's not going anywhere, and we're putting a pole barn over it, and that way it's basically a clubhouse. And so what happens is if it's a rainy night, we can still get together and hang out. And so it's got a wood stove in it. It's got I've got a Wave 3 in the bedroom. So the other thing is like if you come out and do your build out, you don't have to stay in the back of the box truck on the floor. You actually have a bed.
I like it, man. That's pretty nice.
Yeah. So it's so the same thing for anyone. The purpose of the trailer, we're calling it Roscoe's Place.
Okay.
So and then that's it'll be a lot of fun though. As far as but that's my goal is to be part of the community. That if Brad gets motivated, starts a nonprofit 503c, I can donate the whole thing to the nonprofit. If you want to make VanLife RX a nonprofit, and we can donate it to you, and we'll be around for the next 35, 40 years. That's my fear, is that put all this work into the property, and then it will not be used for the purpose that I've set it up for.
I mean, wow. I like it, man. I really like that idea. Yeah. I like the idea that, there could be a permanent place, that would be cemented in as a nonprofit, and set it up in a land trust or something. And the land would just continue on.
Yeah. All you have to do is, if you have a nonprofit, the nonprofit owns the land. That way, you don't have to pay any taxes, but at the same point, part of your mission statement is that you help other people, and you can build in a salaried position for anyone that's working full time.
Yeah.
And so again, that's something to think of in the future. But hey, we'll see what happens. It's like I don't know what my travel plans are this summer. But the nice thing about Show Low, it's a great jumping off point to New Mexico, Colorado, Utah.
Yeah.
We're all within a couple 100 miles, which is nice.
So I like 40
miles south of I-40.
Yeah. I like it, man. I'll tell you what, if I'm able to sell this box truck at Tiny Fest San Diego, I'm going to find a new house and drive it up there, and we'll be able to get started. That'll be the grand kickoff,
Yeah,
I'll bring all the tools and the parts and all the power bars,
I think the champagne.
I have a 4,000 watt generator here, so
that's a lot of watts.
All the power.
That's a lot of watts.
So to build stuff out, I mean, we have solar power in Roscoe's Place.
Yeah.
But when we need to do stuff, we got the power.
Yeah, I like it. I like it. I think it's a great offer for the community, and I appreciate that. I know you personally for many years, and so I appreciate that you just want to help people, and you want to help other people succeed, and so that's really evident in in just your offering to help donate the place to the community. Appreciate that.
Well, Brad and I have talked about not making a nonprofit in the past before too, so it's definitely in the realm of possibility.
Yeah, if you have a 503c, I can just donate it. I don't have to pay any taxes on it. Whereas if I sold it, I would have to pay taxes. And so basically, it'd be a win-win situation, because
right.
But all you have to do, again, is make the application. That you're serving the community and that kind of thing. So we can talk about it more, obviously.
Beautiful. I love it. Well, there you go. For anybody watching, you might be able to come up to Roscoe's Place in the near future and have some work done on your vehicle. I think that would be a beautiful thing if we could get a little community help center going. And the cool thing too is since Walt's in northern Arizona, you know, you can go up there all summer, work on your rig, and then if it's not finished or whatever, then you can go down to southern Arizona, and then all winter you can boondock for free out on BLM land. So it's like you really never have to even leave Arizona, and you can work on your rig and just have everything you need. It's a beautiful plan.
Funny thing is, I've never actually done any van life in Arizona yet. We've gone
Well, see, you went to Florida, which I mean, if you're going to van life in the wintertime, it's either Florida or Arizona. I mean, those are the choices. So
it's true.
But maybe
we were
can
going to do
convince
Arizona and California right before COVID happened, and so we kind of went totally different direction.
Okay. Well, maybe next winter, on your way down from the Pacific Northwest, you want to spend a little time in Arizona. There's quite a community down here. It's a good vibe.
Yeah, we're gonna have to hit
my winter for the most part.
Yep. I've been here the last few winters. I don't know. I love it. It's beautiful. I definitely want to check out Florida, but I haven't made it out there yet. So Arizona, there's a lot of van lifers that come to Arizona for the winter. There's a lot of events. You can have a lot of gatherings, a lot of campfires, and meet a lot of good people. So for me, a big part of this experience really is the people you get to meet and the experiences you have, you know.
Hey, Brad, I got a question. Am
Yep.
I coming through loud and clear?
Yeah, you look good. Yeah, you're loud and
I
clear.
just want to make sure. I told you I have to host the men's meeting on Sunday morning, so I didn't want to have to go into town. Actually, the nice thing about Sholo, we have a Lowe's and a Home Depot, plus a building supply place. So there is a lot of services, which is essential if you're going to build stuff out.
That's what I like. When you told me there's a Home Depot 15 minutes from your property, I was sold. I was like, that's all you need. You know, you can get a lot done with the Home Depot.
And I have a UPS box set up. So all you have to do is send stuff to me, and no cost. No cost for pickup.
I like it. I like it, man. It sounds like you're all set up. Yeah, your connection's great. So I think you should be good for the men's group. I wouldn't worry about going into town. It looks real good.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you. And we'll see you next week, folks.
All right, guys. Yep. Thanks for everybody. Thanks for joining. I'm going to sign off. I got to go eat some food. I'm starving. But thank you. Thank you so much for the chat. And hopefully I'll see you guys next week.